So this project didn't start out as a table, but after a huge mistake, it became a table. Any ideas what it was supposed to be originally? Look at the shape of the top, um, and leave your guesses in the comments. I'd be interested to see if anyone can see or guess what it was going to be originally. And I'm going to tell you during the video what it started out as. Anyway, I wasn't done there. I made another big mistake. I bet I got past that one too. My customer ended up happy, and I ended up with this table. So let's start the video.
All right, so this project started with a piece of cardboard. That cardboard right there, my customer brought in, and they needed me to, that's the shape that they needed. So first of all, I drew it out on my blank here that I've glued up, and I'm roughing it out on the bandsaw, as you can see. And then we'll move over to the sander and fix all my curves on a sander. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those erasers, but those things are amazing for cleaning belt sand, any kind of sanders, but especially belt sanders. And it's basically, it feels like just a big eraser. Now I'm going to switch the belt over to, I don't know what you call it, a cylinder, and I'm going to get that inside curve with this cylinder. That sander is really amazing. Now, what I'm supposed to be making for this customer is a sink cover. They just wanted a sink cover to be able to. It's going on a kitchen island, and they wanted to be able to use that space to put food or whatever on when they weren't using the sink. So they made that template, that piece of cardboard. You can see it in the background there, and asked me to make a sink cover with it. And they wanted the slip on it that sat down in the sink a little ways. And obviously I'm doing that with several passes, just getting a little deeper every time I go. And I don't know if that little attachment on my router is just a little fence. I had to buy it separately, but and I don't use it all the time, but man, it's nice whenever I need it. And in this case, in this inside corner, I'm going to have to take that fence off, and I'm just going to freehand that. And that was a little tricky, but I got it done. Instead of plunging down through this, I just slowly took off the edge until I got into my line that I hand drew there. And it worked out great. I was a little nervous about it, but it worked out really well. Now I'm just going to put a round over on the top, and this is when I realize that I screwed up. I'm while you're putting stain on or finish or something, your mind has time to wander, and I'm picturing this in my head, and I realize that I put that rabbit along the edge on the wrong side. So I've got to start all over. I made another blank and roughed it out on the bandsaw, but this time, since I do have the right shape and it's perfect, I'm gonna use it as a template to with my router to make another one. And unfortunately, right here is where I made my next mistake. These 4 pieces of double-sided tape are not enough to hold that in place, and you'll see what I mean here in just a minute. So I'm pushing on this as I'm routing it out, and it has shifted on me, and I don't realize it until I come around this corner right here. And that has gone in there. So to fix that, I just cut that side off. I had another piece of oak in the shop, so I got it out and I milled it to the same thickness and glued it back on here, and I'm going to try this again. Now I might go a little bit overkill with the double-sided tape this time, but I didn't want to make that same mistake again, so this time I put too much double-sided tape on, and we're going to try this again. So this is the third time I'm trying to make this piece, and James had to come over and check on it there, give me a hard time. So yeah, the first time I put my rabbit on the wrong side, and it would have been facing the wrong way. It wouldn't, obviously set in the sink with the rabbit on the wrong side. So that one I'm going to use as the top of that little table that I showed at the beginning of the video. And this one that I'm routing now, after I fixed my other mistake, I'm going to go ahead and make it into the sink cover. And it'll just go through the rest of the steps that you've already seen, so I'm not going to show those. Where I put the rabbit along the edge, and all that came out great. The customer was very happy with it, and that all worked out fine. And then I had that, that kind of odd-shaped top that I didn't know what to do with, and I decided to make a table base and make it into a little side table. And I actually thought it turned out to be a pretty cool little side table. I've never done anything with a top shaped like that, and it's a little funny, but I like it. So here I am dialing in my my tenon, and I'm using a cutoff piece from one of my actual pieces that I'm going to use for my aprons. That was a cutoff, and I used it to dial in. I wanted to have a 3/4 by 3/4 little tenon here, and using a cutoff to do that is a perfect way to get that dialed in. So I've got all my tenons made. Now I'm going to start making my mortises, and I'm not going to show this whole process. I missed recording a couple of things on this table, making the bottom shelf, which isn't that big of a deal, and the biggest thing I wish I would have recorded that I failed to do is the tapers on the bottoms of the legs. And there's another step I didn't get either. I put a large round over on the whole table base, which really blended all the pieces in well and just gave it a cool look. And I didn't record doing that, but that's just going around with the router with a big round over on it. So not that big of a deal. The only thing I wish I would have gotten was tapering the bottom of the legs. I just used a taper jig on my table saw to put those tapers on the bottom. So getting all my mortises put in. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've seen me use that tool 100 times. It's a hollow chisel mortiser, and I love that tool. I use it. We use it almost every day. So now we're just going to put everything together. And usually we're building big tables. I very rarely build small tables like this, and I didn't like how loose everything felt because my tenons just aren't that long. They couldn't be that long, or they'd hit each other inside the leg. But once I got everything together, and that bottom shelf, obviously gives it a lot of support also. I definitely wouldn't feel comfortable with it without the bottom shelf, but with the bottom shelf and the aprons on the top, once the glue dried, it was solid as a rock. But with those tenons so short, it just didn't feel like our big tables. We hammer 1.25 inch tenon in, and that thing is solid without the glue drying. But this ended up being solid after the glue got dry. So that's it. That's my little table. That's my big mistakes. I turned one thing into another. And if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. Give us a like, comment below, and thanks for watching.